Hello, everybody, and welcome to Shooting the Ish. This is Chris, joined along with Brian.
How's it going, guys?
Pretty good, and we are one member short today. George is missing.
Oh, no, not our sound guy. Oh, this is going to be a dull show.
He's returned to Mount Olympus. He's
recharging, clearly.
What did Spock do when Spock had to go away? What was that called?
He's not going through with trials, right?
He went to, find a mate, Spock. What was that thing that he used to do called?
Oh, gosh.
You remember that? He used to have to go find a mate every 8 years. He used to have return to his home planet.
I always thought that, somebody of George's stature, and I mean that loosely, would, be going through some trials when he goes back to Mount Olympus,
Oh, yeah, maybe that's why he went to Mount Olympus. Him and John Stamos are fighting a three-headed dog, and what other things go on in Greece?
Right, and their judges just happen to be Perseus, Hercules, and Jason from the Argonauts.
Did you see that there's a Hercules movie coming out? That seems so random. I
know, and they have one of the dudes from Twilight, playing this part, and then it's on top of that, they also have another Hercules film coming out. With The Rock. With The Rock, exactly. And I've seen snapshots, and I'm like, Jesus, he looks like really ripped, almost, dare I say, godlike.
Yeah, it's crazy how big he is. I saw he eats 7 meals a day.
Yeah, but there's it's nothing but straight protein, so, and a little bit of carbs, so. It works. It works for him.
So how does that work? I guess it's Hercules. That's so old that no one could have a license on it, right?
Yeah, I think that's that property is public domain at this point. So anyone can pretty much take a stab at it for the most part.
Wow, that's weird that 2 Hercules movies are coming out in the same year.
I know. Crazy.
And this one I just saw last week. I saw the first promotion for it.
Right, I actually did see the trailer last week myself. Ho-hum, but, I'm sure the girls will go gaga for it. I think it's Kalen Lutz, that's his name, so.
I know I'm going gaga for him. Hey, how'd your New Year's go?
I was alone last time I checked, and I downed. But, the bright side was I had a champagne bottle all to myself, so I downed that thing in no time.
That doesn't sound so bright either, though.
What do you mean?
Well, last time on the show you were feeling very sad. I was wondering if you're feeling better now that the holidays are over.
Yeah, in a way. But
yeah.
I realized that at my job, we just recently had a snowstorm, that a lot of packages, were pretty much being held in storage. So UPS basically became public storage for a day. And I know we're gonna be inundated with a lot of volume come next week, so I'm quasi looking forward to it.
Turn up the volume.
Exactly, pump it up. Pump up the volumes, more like it.
Pump the jam.
Oh
your
yeah.
Feet are moving. It was so weird. I guess I just never pay attention on New Year's, but I was overwhelmed by the amount that all these New Year's shows talk about Miley Cyrus and the year in review and their favorite games on their iPhone and their favorite TV shows from their favorite cable TV shows. I was like, wow, I can't believe that they're even allowed to talk about this. And it was
why is that?
I don't know. It was just these were my favorite things this year. These were my favorite things. I was a little overwhelmed, I think, by the onslaught of all of it,
Why, you didn't feel like sharing it with the public or something? What is it?
No, it just feels like, those shows, those end-of-year shows, it's like a bunch of 40-plus-year-olds talking about, teenage things to 40-year-olds. It feels so strange. It feels strange to me. I feel too old to be listening to the material.
Right. But it makes sense.
It's like a year in review that has nothing to do with. They never say a news story. It's like the news has strictly turned into entertainment news.
Well, yes, it's to pretty much get the people who are out of touch, up to date, And what you're talking about now has been classified as infotainment. You know, it's just, that's what the news is now. Even like the ones who are well respected, you know, the CNNs, the MSNBCs, they're mainly just infotainment. You know,
I guess we're infotainment, but at least we're not pretending to be news.
Right, I guess so. And what even cracks me up is like, gone are the days of the Walter Cronkites and the Edward R. Murrows, who I think wouldn't be caught dead, like, like reporting news about like what was going on in Hollywood, and like I can't see them like doing a story on remember Psy, who 2 years ago had the biggest music video with that Gangnam Style. I can see them like, yeah, exactly. Like I can't see either one of them respectively like reporting on that, big hit.
No, I know. Sometimes at work, the morning TV news is playing, like the early morning news, and you see they're like pandering about when the new iPhone's coming out, or what celebrities in rehab, and it's like, really? Is this it? It's the only thing going on?
Yeah, I know.
This seems like it seems like every station has turned into Z100.
Yeah, and in addition to that, the anchors are starting to look more like movie stars than most movie stars.
Yeah, we're finally catching up to Spanish TV.
Minus the whole like bikini weather.
You should
TV.
see the news in LA. It's laughable. The people do like poses. They walk dramatically towards the camera, even to talk about local news stories. The weatherman just dances because he has nothing good to talk about. It's just 70 and clear every day.
Right, and then on top of that, when it does rain, it's like almost catastrophic. It's the equivalent of a snowstorm here.
Yeah, bad hair day, end of the world.
Right.
But yeah, it is really bad, I guess, because the oil is slicks up. There's flash floods, and people just generally do not know how to operate in the rain.
Right.
It's like, wait, should I put away my lipstick while I'm in the car while it's raining? Nah, I'll try anyway. Right,
exactly. I'm hearing stories of my personal favorite stories, like, a mutual friend of ours is driving in an intersection, and you have a dumbass who's in the lane that's going straight, but he wants to get on the left. He's supposed to be on the left lane, and the left lane that's like the turning lane is apparently empty, but he decides to be in the straight lane to turn left. And he's holding track.
You see nonsense like that all the time here.
Yeah, holding up traffic while the people on the other side of the intersection are already have the right of way, and
Here's another one. Yeah, some people don't want to switch lanes here. Like, you could be driving on an empty highway, in the middle lane or in the right lane. The person comes up behind you and is now tailgating you. There are 3 open lanes to the left. Those are passing lanes.
Right.
Yeah, so how close do you need to get before you realize you can go around? Like, a little bit of foresight would solve the problem for both of us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, in a way, a part of me is saying I'm glad I don't live on the West Coast. Because in terms of traffic-wise, we don't really have that problem. The only thing is, like, when we get slammed by, like, say, a snowstorm, it is a bit scary to drive out there from time to time because the roads get icy very easily, especially when the temperature drops.
Yeah.
I remember one time, a few years back when I was out of town and, the tri-state area got hit real hard. And in terms of the aftermath, I was coming home and I just saw like, I felt like, for instance, the southern state was like a graveyard, for cars. Because there were cars that were like just like, snowed in off the road and all that. And I was like, holy shit, I was like wondering if people were inside and all that kind of stuff. And I really couldn't do much of anything about it, So it's kind of, it is kind of interesting that New York has, is a series of islands with tighter and older highways, and LA has more traffic. Right. I know.
I think it's just a general aloofness that's in the air out here.
I guess so. Must be the smog, must be the smog that pretty much influences people. And the thing is that the freeway over there was supposed to be the cutting edge thing that was going to pretty much eradicate.
Oh yeah, the one freeway is 7 lanes wide. They're upgrading it to 8 lanes wide.
Oh yeah, we were like, yeah, like you guys really.
Good luck moving an inch in traffic in that thing.
Right.
In any of those 8 lanes.
Listen, I'll take the LIE any day of the week before I even step foot back on the California freeway.
Right. We have the 405 freeway, and that has so many. That's the one with like 7 or 8 lanes now.
Right.
And the locals call it the 405, like the 4 or 5 hour freeway.
Oh my God.
Get ready to sit.
So yeah, it's basically like before you head out, make sure your tank is filled up to F.
Oh yeah, it's scary. You could be stuck for 20 miles it could take you, oh my God, it could take you 3 or 4 hours.
I mean, I don't know how you do it, pal. I really don't.
I work the night shift. That's how I do it. I don't ever deal with it.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of a cheesy song. When the day is through on the night shift.
But no, New Year's was good. I was a little tired. I guess I'm just getting older.
Oh, that makes 2 of us, pal.
Plus everyone on the East Coast. Once I said Happy New Year to them, I was ready to pack it in. But I guess I was just shocked that I don't watch TV that often, so I was just shocked to find out what was going on network TV.
Right.
Couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how many times they mentioned Miley Cyrus or, whatever the hot thing of the day was.
Right.
Couldn't believe it. It was an incredible amount of hit you over the head, redundant, entertainment, gossipy news.
Right. Like if you didn't get it now, you're going to get it again. Definitely.
Right. Be prepared because it's going to be the same story in 2014.
Right, exactly. Now, did you get a chance to watch the Dick Clark New Year's Eve bash?
No, wait, now who has one now? Dick Clark still has one?
Well,
I thought Ryan Seacrest took his.
Yes,
Ryan
did.
Seacrest took Casey Kasem's.
No, well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. That guy's he's just like a oil baron or a tycoon in terms of media.
If you call me an entertainment man, you must agree.
Right, exactly. Minus like the big old puffy mustache, Rowley Fingers type of mustache and a top hat.
Oh,
I'm not sure if a boss tweed look would work for him, but yeah,
I don't know.
He's in
that mustache dirty. So who else has a show? So Seacrest and Dick Clark have a joint show, and then Carson Daly has a show.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was just wondering if you watched any of those.
I saw the one I was watching was the Carson Daly show. What is the other one? What's going on the other one?
Well, I mean, I didn't watch most of it, but I heard from people like they're saying how Miley Cyrus she was performing and she was singing off key. And then when after the ball drop, you had all these, a friend of mine was just calling them faggot bands, playing. he was not. Well,
that really, he really drew his line in the sand there. We know where that friend stands.
Right, exactly. It was like each band to him was gayer than the next one.
Well, there's very few. I'm assuming they were emo-y, rock-y bands.
Yeah.
There's very few cool bands. I guess the Black Keys are considered cool now, and in the last decade, who was that desert band?
Oh yeah, good luck,
Little sister, won't you find another way? I can't remember their name.
Me neither.
But I guess there's very little cool bands out there.
Right. I'm quite sure our listeners would pretty much hate us for that, but I'm just going by what my friend said.
Queens of the Stone Age, that's what their name was.
Oh, yeah, I haven't heard of. What have they been up to?
I don't know. It's a new decade.
Definitely is. And what's crazy? Like on the East Coast, I've been inundated with commercials about the spoils of Babylon, which just reeks of something that should have been on Adult Swim.
I never heard of this. What is it?
Apparently, it's one of those. It reminds me of like Tim and Eric. It's like if Tim and Eric like decided to do like a dramatic epic miniseries, and then like you just put all these big stars in it to act like a bunch of fools. Now apparently it stars Tobey Maguire. The hell's that former SNL?
Bill Hader.
No, the female. What the hell's in there? She's in it. Yeah, she's in there. Tim Robbins is in it. Haley Joel Osment is in it, who looks like he should, like, if there was ever going to be another Dick Tracy, he should be a dead ringer for Littleface. He'd be perfect for that. He has such a little face, and it's weird. He has a weird face. That's all. And who else is in there? Jessica Alba's in there.
Wait, so what's the story of it?
I have no clue. Now that you mentioned, I gotta look this crap up. But it has, like I said, it looks like something that's supposed to be on Adult Swim, but it's gonna be on IFC. And, I don't know, it looks like, I don't know, it just looks, it looks like it's supposed to be satirical and it's supposed to be like, really left of center, if you will.
Okay.
I mean, the way it's like put together. All right.
So what else? What else is going on?
Well, I mean, in terms of like, I guess tragic or old tragic news, they did in terms of Paul Walker's autopsy.
Yeah.
They said that the Porsche was going. It topped at 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, a lot of people do that, even in a little old station wagon.
Really?
And it's not. I mean, what I'm saying is, it's not a speed that you need a Porsche for. Like, you could hit that while you're driving on the freeway with your family in the car.
Right.
People do hit that, so that is pretty scary, you know.
Right, and the things that they were going to do, they were doing a quote unquote test drive. And I was reading other reports saying that they were like, I guess they were doing donuts on the road as well, you know?
I wonder if they slipped on an oil patch like in those old video games.
Who knows? But, well, when you're going that fast, and on
a local road, too. That's pretty reckless.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense, in terms of why they would do that. I mean, I can understand if you, were on a racetrack, and I'm sure they could find a racetrack. After all, the guy that was driving it was a so-called, quote-unquote, professional race car driver. So, I mean,
yeah,
certain things that doesn't make any sense. And they also,
yeah, that's true. No one gave this guy a vigil. The driver, everyone like Paul Walker died.
Well, yeah, basically,
he wasn't the driver though. Who was?
Right.
That doesn't matter. Paul Walker.
Right. So it's right. The bells do not toll for this individual. Roger Rodas, rest in peace.
I was so surprised when Paul Walker died because. I just laughed it off when I heard it because I thought it was just an internet hoax because Paul Walker, the lead guy from Fast and the Furious, died in a car crash. Like that seems crazy.
It does. Joke. Yeah, it does scream. It does scream like hoax, like a funny hoax initially. And they said that apparently in terms of his injuries, it was basically like a fractured jaw. He broke it, like a part of his left arm or something like that. And the guy, Roger Rodas, he had a fractured head. Like, I think his brains was out. But Paul, was alive for 60 seconds before the car blew up. So, and he was in sort of a defensive position.
How do they determine this shit? How can you tell that from a charred body?
Shit, if I was a forensic guy, I don't think I would be here telling you this, but I'm sure there's little, obviously they have little evidence that, that pretty much they're able to examine little things that the impact of, I can't believe I'm really explaining this. I know. I don't know.
Go on. You sound professional. Keep going.
I actually kind of like dead air instead. But I'm just saying you have professionals who notice, little things that where, certain things are out of the ordinary in this case.
Yeah. So okay, so blowing him up in Fast and Furious 7 is definitely out of the question. I guess they can.
In terms of being PC, it would be tacky now.
Well, they could shoot him. They could, because that's like a form of violence that somehow is very accepted in the movies, and that would not deal with the cars at all and not deal with explosions at all. Like if they have a big gun battle, someone could snipe him, and when the heat on the gun battle dies down, he could be wounded. Or his.
And you know what? And here's the funny thing.
You'd have to be face down, I guess.
And here's the funny thing too. They could track him in Fast 5 being in a gun battle. Like, they can mat him like into the modern gun or the up and coming gun battle in Fast 7, for it to fit. I'm sure it's going to be nice and sunny anyway. So that should be. But I mean, also, I just feel like them, according to what they've released, Universal released a statement saying that they're going to officially retire the character.
What does that mean?
I guess here it is. The thing is that they're going to use the scenes that he shot in the film, but I guess halfway through the film they're going to just retire. They're not going to use him in the upcoming mission where they're supposed to take down the main bad guy played by Jason Statham.
Wait, are they shooting that movie in order? Like, are they shooting scene 1, scene 2? Like, aren't movies shot out of order?
Yeah, usually shot non-linearly anyway. But apparently,
it seems like this movie would shoot scenes in order.
Yeah, I would be surprised.
I don't know.
But usually, it's non-linearly. But what's crazy is that in the DVD Blu-ray release of Fast 6, they had a trailer or teaser of Fast 7. So, and basically it's like one of the first scenes in the film that they showed.
I remember. Yeah, that was at the end of the credits. Okay,
right.
So basically they're going to try to find a way to just tone him down and write him out. Well, that'll still be interesting to see how they do it.
But to me, in my honest opinion, I just don't see how that's going to work.
Yeah, you might as well kill him off. It's relevant and deals with...
No, I'm just saying, if you're going to do it, if you're going to write him off, I would say give him, a heroic send-off where, we talked about this before, where his character is trying to save the team from absolute destruction, and he gives his life, something like that, in some dramatic fashion.
I always thought it was weird in that Batman sequel where Bane was taking over the Arkham and Joker didn't escape out of jail just because Heath Ledger was dead.
Yeah, I know.
And this is the last time. This is the first time since that movie that a movie's had this sort of buzz, like dead actor, the Crow buzz or whatever.
Well, more so Heath Ledger, because these are big films,
Yeah.
These. I mean, The Crow was more of a cult, has more of a cult following, whereas The Dark Knight, it's a big giant blockbuster, and to see a main actor, die before the film comes out, it generates a hell of a lot more buzz than anticipated.
Yeah, and then the other question is this: going forward,
how do you go forward after? Because obviously,
what's that?
How does this franchise go forward? Because it's clearly a cash cow, and they're going to keep, and Universal's going to keep churning these out because that's their biggest moneymaker right now.
Well, not only has your main, if not your main character, died in terms of the actor, but also the love interest angle he played on screen is now done for. That was the most lovey-dovey part of this franchise. With that gone, does this just become The Rock's action franchise? What is this?
They might as well, what's going to happen? Because it might as well just be called The Rock and Vin Diesel show, if you will, with wheels.
If that's the case, Vin Diesel better get back to the gym.
Yeah, I mean,
he looked tough standing next to Paul Walker, but he's gonna look a little chunky standing next to Rock.
You're right, a little bit.
That last one, he seemed like he was coasting.
Oh, I didn't see Fast 6, but in Fast 5, it kind of looked ridiculous. Them going at it. I always felt like The Rock should have mopped the floor with them. Absolutely mopped the floor with them. But yeah, it's kind of weird because, like, I've never seen a Fast and Furious film on like in the theaters, but I always catch it on TV and whatnot. And I always follow the storyline, for the most part.
Yeah.
And even though, the Vin Diesel character, the Dominic Toretto character is like the main attraction in those main ones, really the Brian O'Connor is the heart and soul of that franchise. We see him as a, FBI agent who's trying to take down, these band of outlaws and all that. And then you see as the series progresses, he becomes, entranced in their lifestyle to the point of acceptance now. So I don't see how it's going to work where you're just going to write his character off and then continue on without him,
Yeah, whichever way they do it, I guess the question is, and it sounds fucked up to say,
yeah.
Does this franchise become better now with The Rock taking more of a prominent role? He's definitely, at this point, Vin Diesel and Paul Walker they were there from the beginning, so it was what it was, but you now have the biggest movie star in the world that's moved up from a sub-slot to now will probably be a main slot in a big-time franchise.
Right. Who knows? Like, the Cobb character, which The Rock plays, like now he's going to start, like anytime there's like some trouble in the world, he's going to start assembling a team of drivers and stuff like that.
This kid,
he'd be like the souped up version of Nick Fury of the Avengers.
if Vin Diesel shows up with that double chin for one more film, The Rock's taking his spot too. They might just write Vin Diesel out of the movie.
Why not?
We all got to go away now.
Even though it's I don't know how it's going to work because it's fun. What's funny is that Vin is actually he's been the producer since the fourth one.
Oh yeah, that's his thing. I'm joking.
Yeah. So that's a fat chance. I just realized that since the fourth one, he's been calling the shots for the most part.
Speaking of death, since you love that topic so much.
Well, it's one of my fortes. Oh.
Uncle Phil's dead from Fresh Prince.
Oh, yeah, James Avery? Yeah.
He was about 65, right?
He was 65, yeah. He had a history of health problems, I'm assuming, due to, his weight and whatnot. But, he was actually fun to watch on that show. As cheesy as it was, the show.
He was, I don't think that archetype ever gets old. Older big man that gets angry and high blood pressure at a younger man that's causing trouble, like Carl Winslow, Homer Simpson.
Right.
I'm trying to think of other characters. Yeah. Definitely Carl Winslow and Uncle Phil had some similarities.
They played the similar archetypal character that you see in these family sitcoms, and I always even when he did his outbursts, it wasn't cheesy. Like it was still funny and it still felt real to me,
Right.
Where it's not easy for an actor, like when they're doing the yelling scene, they could be real handstake and it'll kind of ruin the scene. But, I always felt like whenever he did his outbursts, it kind of enhanced the scene, and in this case, the comedy that was unfolding.
Well, he was like a real deal theater actor, Uncle Phil.
Oh yeah.
I don't know his real name. What's his real name?
James Avery.
James Avery. Excuse me.
And, yeah, that's all right. And he's also I didn't even know that he was the voice of the Shredder in the cartoon series
of Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's done a lot,
It's always important to have a strong, in those family sitcoms, have a strong father character.
Oh yeah. I didn't even know he served in Vietnam as a member of the U.S. Navy from '68 to '69.
Wow.
And that was after graduating high school.
He wasn't just fat though; he was a large man. He was over 6 feet, right?
Yeah, because if Will Smith's 6'2", he must have been 6'4" easily. Easily
Yeah.
60. Yeah. Yeah.
Will Smith just making fun of him for being fat the whole time.
Yeah, I know. He's like, really another fat joke. He must have been looking at that script like, oh, geez, not again. I mean, he probably played it off cool, like, oh, this is fun, but he's like, oh, great, not another one of these.
Did Will Smith have anything to say about this?
You would think. I haven't heard anything, to be honest with you.
Did Carlton have anything to say?
He was the one that broke the news, Alfonso Ribeiro.
Oh, really?
He's the one that broke the news on his, I think either on his Twitter page or Facebook page. And, but I haven't heard anything from, you would think you would hear something from Will Smith, but.
That's a show that people don't realize is just as syndicated as, or is up there in syndication along with all the famous shows from the 90s, 80s, and so on. That is very, very worldwide syndicated. That show makes money all day long, every day.
Well, according to here, right, I'm online right now, they're saying that Jada Pinkett Smith paid tribute to James Avery. But they're saying that there's a fake Will Smith tweet that goes viral after the death of James Avery. I don't know if you've heard of it. Oh,
no. What is it?
Hang on one sec. My apologies, folks.
What are you doing, Brian? Hey, speaking of fake quotes, remember how we were talking about the Brad Pitt thing last week? How Brad Pitt had a viral thing go off about his wife?
Yeah, what about it?
Someone's saying it's a hoax. I gotta look into it.
Oh, okay.
Because that is true. Like, how would that get out there?
Right. Well, they're saying that there's a fake tweet that Will Smith said. Well, first he starts it off by saying, in West Philadelphia, born and raised. And then he says later after, R.I.P. Uncle Phil. All you real fresh Prince of Bel-Air fans out there, don't stop retweeting this pic.
Oh, God, that does seem pretty fake.
Yeah. So that's what they're saying, And they have like all these captions of like, that pivot, that scene between him and Will where he tells Uncle Phil, "You're not my father," and everybody says, "Oh, that scene made you cry" and all that kind of stuff. But the scene that always stuck with me, as a kid, there's two with James Avery when he has like one of those angry outbursts. And I was telling you this earlier about with the one episode where Will and Carlton trick Jeffrey the butler into thinking that he won the lotto. And when, he reads his numbers and he's so happy that he won, and he tells the family off and he quits. And then they come clean to Uncle Phil and he's like, "You did what? You out of your horny little adolescent minds?" And then like idiot Carlton's like, "I know I am, Dad." And then he's like, "You too have pulled some pranks in your day, but this one takes the cake." And he starts laughing maniacally. Now, Will, is looking at Carlton and is like, all right, he's about to blow any minute. Let's just move. And he catches him at the last minute and he asks him, "So, if you were me, what would you do in this situation?" And then Will is like, I don't know, bury the hatchet and buys a couple of jet skis. And they start laughing. They both start laughing. Obviously, Will and Carlton are this nervous laughter. And then out of nowhere, Uncle Phil's like, "Look, you big-eared freeloader. You take little cousin with you, and you find Jeffrey, and you bring him back, or don't ever find your bodies. And I'm a judge. I can make it happen." And I forgot this other episode that I forgot like the synopsis of this other episode. But he catches them off guard and he asks them, "Do I look like a white guy named Ward?" Now he's referencing Ward Cleaver from Leave It to Beaver, who is probably one of the, I hate to say, probably arguably one of the dullest TV dads in TV history.
Well, that show the kid was the centerpiece of that show. The dad didn't matter.
No, it didn't. Right, but I'm just saying.
That was before they figured out the formula, I think, for TV. Well, look, Simpsons started like that. It was more of an emphasis on Bart, and then quickly it became about Homer.
Right.
Okay, so here's how that Brad Pitt letter went. They found out it was fake.
Okay.
It had appeared on a Nigerian relationship advice site.
Oh, when they're not busy asking people for money, or wait, to ship like money electronically and all that kind of stuff. Oh, they must have had a slow day.
Yeah, and the other thing is that I guess, is that in the letter he keeps referring to his wife, but I guess Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie are not even married.
Right.
So that was a big clue.
Right.
Somehow it got because it was so heartwarming, it got passed around, and somehow Brad Pitt's name got put on it. And Brad Pitt, I think, came out and said, I had nothing to do with this.
Right.
He should have just said, yeah, I did it.
Yeah, but, I mean, he's worth millions, so it's like, what the hell does he have to prove?
It says that the Nigerian website also then released a headline at the end of December. Jay-Z files for divorce from Beyonce.
by Nigerian newspaper.
And
they don't have a name, but they're just called the Nigerian newspaper. That's all you need to know.
Okay, here was a quote from that article on the Nigerian site.
Mm-hmm.
Jay-Z said about Beyonce, "She acted like my lips were sexy all these years, so honestly I ain't no telling what else she lying about."
Yeah, that is some hard-hitting evidence right there.
Yeah. Well, that's how these tabloid sites work. They'll have some real stories, and then that hooks in the people for the alien lands on on the White House story.
Right. Crazy.
But yeah, so that was fake. Oh, speaking of 60s, people in their 60s. So Jane Seymour was on the cover of a magazine. Did you see that picture?
Yeah, she was on the cover of Closer Weekly, which I never even heard of them.
It's one of those random, dentist magazines.
Oh, well, it seems to have a lot of tabloid type things going on.
Like, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's like along the lines of People and OK.
Yeah, like OK, like the things you'd see at the doctor's office, just sitting there. I don't know what doctor you. Now, when I go to my OGBYN,
what cracks me up is that I am covered
by OB, whatever it's called.
Your OBGYN? I didn't know.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
But you're welcome. The thing is that I do have medical coverage, but for some weird reason, I've been adhering to the DGS plan. Which
I know, 'cause you're a guy. I know, I went to I'm the same way.
Yeah, I've been too lazy, so I don't usually see these magazines, and I don't go to the supermarket, so.
Anyway, Jane Seymour of James Bond, of old-time James Bond fame. And what else was she on?
Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that? That was late 80s, right?
I would say...
Early 90s?
Early to mid-90s, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that show. So, yeah, she posed on the cover of the magazine, and she is, like, in fantastic shape.
For 62, yes.
Do you think it's Photoshopped?
I'm trying to see.
I don't know. I don't think it looks very Photoshopped. And, in fact, it's pretty inspiring. Like, you would think as you were to get older that your muscle mass would start decreasing, but I guess if you take care of yourself the proper way, like, you could, be living nice and healthy and fit and all that good stuff. And it really is inspirational when I saw it. She's in great shape. Her body looks like, she looks like, I don't want to put an age on being fit, but, she definitely doesn't look like an older woman, at least in terms of body.
She has the body, but the me more. Let's put it that way. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, it might be Photoshop because, where's the wrinkles on her arm? Maybe I'm just being cynical, but I would imagine, like, usually.
Either way, she's in fantastic shape.
All right.
I mean, even if she had like a wrinkle or a blemish, her general shape, her structure is extremely fit.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, there's a slew of others that we can drop who look great for their age.
Like who?
If you see like those, the Charlie's Angels, hang on.
How old is the president's wife? Are they in their 40s or are they in their 50s?
They're in their 40s.
Really?
They should be late 40s.
Oh, that's 50s. Young for a president.
Yeah. Yeah, Michelle Obama.
Okay, she is. All right, Brian. Well, this is not the look everything up on Google show. Let's have a conversation.
I don't want to have a conversation.
Yeah, what are you? Sound man. Where's the sound man? Please save me, sound man.
Yeah, he's saving you with dead silence. That's how he's saving you, pal. No offense.
Down Olympus. Let's call to him. George,
assemble right now.
Throw a lightning bolt with a sound effect, please.
I never prayed to you before. I have no help for it. But if you no help me now, then to hell with you.
Did you see Anderson Silva's leg get snapped in half in that UFC fight?
Unfortunately. Yeah.
That was sick. That was.
I mean, the thing is that what sucks about it is that he was going to retire anyway after that fight.
Was he?
Yeah. Like he announced, to the public that he was going to retire after that fight.
Oh, no.
For him to go down like that sucks.
Yeah, I know he was a good champion a couple of years ago. I guess he was at the end of his run.
And he knew it. He just didn't know to what extent.
Ah, shit. He goes to kick the other guy in the leg.
Right, and the guy
compound fracture just snaps in half. It looks terrible. He doesn't realize it because he's in the middle of his leg what would you say, that routine or his kick, and so he pulls the leg back to go stand on it and then realizes he's not putting the weight on it. So it's almost like he goes to stand on the broken leg after he puts it down, and then he looks and he falls down to the ground.
Right.
And then he realizes, and then I guess he goes into shock. It was bad. It is cringeworthy bad. It's always cringeworthy bad when you see these. Although sometimes when you see them, it's from a faraway camera, like in a soccer game. Or there was even when Psycho Sid, the wrestler, jumped off the top rope. He landed and it folded like that, and it's a famous clip on the internet. And in fact, one of the first viral clips on the internet back in Web 1.0 days. But even that was with pants on and boots on, and usually the players have some sort of thing covering. This you just see. Just skin folding in half.
Right.
And I believe then you see a little compound fracture bone sticking out.
Ouch.
It's awful. It's awful. I suggest you don't watch it. But anyway, I felt terribly for him.
You forced me. Yet you were adamant that I should watch it. Go figure.
Well, I didn't know if you did or not. Now I know that you did. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. I don't worry. I kept my dinner down.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I felt bad for. I'm not too much into UFC like that, but I felt terribly for him.
Right. I mean, shit. If you want to watch something cringe-worthy, I mean, this is quasi old news, but there's been some news about some drug called crocodile.
What?
Let me finish. Crocodile. That there's been some case studies where people have been taking this drug that that's it's flesh eating. It's a flesh eating drug through heroin injections and needle injections and all that.
Now the people obviously don't realize that they're taking this.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because they're basically the dealers are mixing in all types of chemicals and these compounds are what form this flesh eating drug called crocodile, and it's usually apparent like in various parts of Europe and in Russia and other countries within that region. But they apparently have found some cases of of the past year. So, I'm just saying, if you want to watch like something that's real cringe worthy, and you can't keep your lunch down, look no further. There you go.
It's so crazy how the internet works. Remember Faces of Death used to be this those videotapes that had like people dying on it. That was like a really underground thing, and now you just have to type in. I remember back in the day there was Rotten.com that showed like dead bodies.
Right.
I mean, it's all there. It's really disgusting. I don't know if Rotten.com is still around, but I mean, it's kind of crazy that everyone has anything horrid at the tip of their fingertips like this.
Right. And the thing is that, juxtaposed with, like it's hard for instance, the movie industry. How do you keep up with that? Because,
not only, it's also advertised, the news trends. Oh, look, these soldiers threw a puppy off a cliff. Look at a puppy get thrown off a cliff.
Right. It's just like, like there were certain things like back in the day, like in the 70s and all that. And before that, there was certain things that you couldn't see on TV, which, it made it mandatory for you to go to the theaters, in the sense that if you wanted to see something that was edgy, you had to go to the movies. Now, everything that's edgy, you have at your fingertips, and you can watch it at any time, any place, for the most part.
Blogging and posting have really blurred the lines between promotion and word of mouth.
Right.
It's like some of these places pick up on a story because it's buzzing or it's trending, whereas back in the day, that would have been an underground thing compared to what the news was putting out, which was mainstream stories. But there's so many avenues now that these little things do break through.
Right. It's crazy.
So, speaking of Silva, Anderson Silva, so he's the one from Brazil, correct?
I believe so, yes.
He was fighting Chael Sonnen, who actually appeared in Grudge Match to talk some shit Chael Sonnen kind of plays like a heel character. Like, I think he took lessons from Stone Cold Steve Austin on how to be a heel.
Wait a minute, he was actually in the movie Grudge Match?
Yeah, he was in the movie Grudge Match, but just in general, he's very good at promoting his fights, or when he did fight, because he would just talk trash.
Right.
And even if he lost the fight, he'd show up with a replica of the belt he just lost and say, I'm still the champion. He'd do like things like that,
Sounds classy.
Yeah, he's like a shit tier. He's like, like what Muhammad Ali used to do, talk shit, build up the fight, win or lose, whatever. So when he was fighting Anderson Silva, he kept referencing how Brazil was poor and how Brazil was backwoods. And he said when Anderson Silva first got to this country, he didn't know what to make out of the city bus. He thought it was a very large animal. And Anderson Silva's like, you disrespect Brazil, but Brazil love you, Chael Sonnen.
Whatever happened to the days we had nothing nice to say, don't say anything. When did the hell, the information just gets blurted out, doesn't matter where you are or what frame of mind you're in.
Muhammad Ali was the one who,
Yeah, but he did, I'm just saying he did that just to, generate interest anyway. So
well, that's what Chael Sonnen's doing too. He's doing it because he has fights. So he's like building up a heat for the fight, so people want to pay to see him get his butt kicked or whatever.
Right. So he wants people to actually watch him get his butt kicked. Okay.
I guess. Well, he's a good fighter.
Sure. breaking a guy's leg by just blocking.
What? Yeah. No. This is a different fighter altogether.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That guy though, that guy is actually on a roll. The champion that Anderson broke his leg, Silva broke his leg against. That guy is like on a dominant streak, and a great champion just broke his leg just by kicking you in the shin. That's wild.
That is crazy.
Okay, so Brian, it's time for the news. You're the new newsman.
I hate it.
We want to hear some news from Brian. Now, put on your news voice, get professional. I expect you to read the news.
I'm not doing it.
I expect you to read the news in a professional and formal manner.
Well, according to the recent reports, there have been 6,000 Iraqi deaths this past year, which was the most since 5 years ago.
Really?
And this, which is crazy considering that the U.S. forces left and the Iraqi police force has been in operations. So and from what they were saying is that most of these deaths were related to Al Qaeda attacks.
Ah.
Yeah.
Now, is this also police hunting down and killing these Al Qaeda people, or is this strictly a terrorist Al Qaeda attacking?
I would
killing
think
people.
I would think it'd be mainly like the civilians being attacked.
And, see, there you go. I guess.
And I guess you know what it is. I think it has something to do with ever since the U.S. Announcing that they were going to leave Iraq. Like Al Qaeda was just basically gathering steam. They were just going to, as soon as like, the military forces left, they basically struck swiftly and without warning for the most
That's
part.
what that whole Syria thing was about. They were testing chemical weapons, and the fear was that the chemical weapons would be sold to the terrorists. So that's why we kind of got involved over there to cut that off before that grew.
Right.
Because you're now testing in a pretty public way. You're now testing what would happen, and now you have a viable weapon that you could sell to growing terrorist cells.
Yeah.
Terrorists.
Terrorist cells.
Terrorists. Terrible.
That's why they're called terrorists.
Terriblest. The terriblest.
Right.
Man. See what happens when you don't have sex? Get all cuckoo.
Yeah, for Cocoa Puffs. Kind of reminds of a guy that we actually know.
Maybe they should have some Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, why not? Go for broke.
And then maybe they would calm down with some Cocoa Puffs.
Mm-hmm.
What else is in the news?
What else is in the news? Back to entertainment news. American Hustle was among the Producer Guild's nominees. And 12 Years a Slave and the film Nebraska are also nominated for its Outstanding Producer of Theatrical Motion Pictures Awards.
Oh, okay. When did the Oscar stuff come out?
I believe that should be sometime in March, if I'm not mistaken.
The nominations or the Oscars?
Oh, no, the Oscars.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We should do a show when that comes out. Okay, so they did...
But this does relate to a question that I always was curious about. What is... And I just want your opinion on this. What do you think is the general purpose of the existence of the Producers Guild anyway? Like, I can understand the existence of the Writers Guild, the Directors Guild, and the Actors Guild because they're trying to protect themselves from being screwed over by the producers and the studios and the stockholders. Yeah. Who are the producers protecting themselves from? You know what I mean?
They're the 1%. They're looking for ways to get the money.
I'm just saying, exactly. And then they could, it reminds me of the golden rule quote, whoever has the goal makes the rules. And that's who they are.
You know what? I think maybe it's helpful in this way. Maybe that union, being unionized, could work together with the other unions to make sure that the right fit is made. Because it doesn't make sense to have a producer that has intentions A work with a whole bunch of people who have intentions B. So maybe it's maybe that's just part of them aligning with the other guilds to prove that, hey, let's all talk together and figure out who the best person for each job is, because we don't want to be mismatched either, and we don't want to then have a bad movie because we were put on the wrong thing. I guess it's protecting yourself. I mean, if you're the producer, you're the boss and of the production. If the production goes to shit like 47 Ronin just did, then that's on your shoulders. So I would say a guild would protect you from being the ultimate fall guy as the ultimate person between the money and the creative end. Right.
It's funny you should mention 47 Ronin because I always felt like...
What happened there?
Basically, you have a star that, took too long, in terms of, like, putting out a film. He took, like, 3 years off. Same thing with Will Smith. And then on top of that, you're aligning yourself with, actors, and no disrespect to them, that the world really doesn't know about or never heard of for the most part. And on top of that, you have like some no-name director. You know what I mean? So I felt like, in order for him to make a real comeback or successful comeback, he would have to align himself with like a hot director or a big star who's relevant.
Yeah, I guess
it's the same thing. Yeah. It's the same thing with like Will Smith. Like, Will Smith like did that After Earth with Jaden, who, obviously he had a couple of string of hits, like two hits, but, wasn't really a big star. And then on top of that, you're aligning yourself with M. Night Shyamalan, who's had a string of bad films, he hasn't been able to reclaim his Sixth Sense glory days, and whatnot,
I guess that's just how it is. A bad mismatch, if the chemistry's not there, that could ruin the production.
Right.
You have a bunch of good workers and the boss isn't on the same page, you know, that's not good for business.
And the thing is that it in this day and age, it's so fleeting, success. It's as soon as you get to the top, it's even hard to stay there. And it's apparent now more than ever than it was, years ago. I mean, it's hard to believe, like, like for instance, Justin Bieber, he was like one of the most, beloved pop stars last year, and now, he's the most hated, or one of the most hated and reviled, if I'm not mistaken, alongside, like a Miley Cyrus. I mean, and I'm just going by the fact that he had a documentary that didn't make any money at all. You know what I'm saying? And this is and he was supposed to quote unquote retire, this past year. So, yeah, he was supposed to retire this past year. So,
I wonder how he's going to pay his entourage if he retires.
Right. I don't know if he has. Well, right. It wouldn't surprise me if, kid his age doesn't have an entourage, but yeah, in this case, he probably has a.
But what you're saying is true. I mean, look at the Veronica Mars thing. Veronica Mars movies coming out. That was funded by the fans. That was a $6 million budget funded on Kickstarter, and they did a great job. It looks good. I mean, for what it is in terms of $6 million for the budget, it looks good. The trailer looks professional. But at the same time, now, I mean, there's a studio didn't even invest in this movie. The fans who were going to pay to see the movie anywhere paid to make the movie.
I know, and they're not. And guess what? They're not going to see a dime in terms of the back end. Yeah,
I was wondering how that worked. They probably had to sign this is a donation only sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. They're not gonna. Yeah, they're not getting any.
No, that would be interesting, though. That would be like the new form of the stock market, if a lot of people could invest in a mega film and then reap the rewards of the return. That would be a really cool twist on the film business and the video game and all that stuff.
Well, the video game business doesn't need. Well, yeah, people are gonna use Kickstarter for whatever projects they have. But I'm just saying the video game business is $1 billion industry. I mean, I'm not saying that the movie industry isn't. But, their billions are a hell of a lot more than the movie business's billions.
I wonder if a project like that would take off. I guess musicians have had to do similar stuff, because music is the one hurting the most.
Yeah, because they're not buying CDs anymore. And if anything, it's all about iTunes and what else is out there. What else do people use?
They get money from licensing for movies, licensing for rock band and video games like that.
Yeah, that's the only way they can really, and also the concerts.
I think as games evolve, they'll start having more current music in games, like how Grand Theft Auto does. So.
Oh yeah, well,
music won't be an industry. It'll be like a subsection of entertainment that fits in where it can.
Right. And I feel like, and I'll be honest with you, I actually been addicted to. Now bear in mind, I don't have any.
Crocodile?
Let me finish, you son of a. Anyway, no, obviously not Crocodile, but the Arkham games. Yeah. I've been watching them on YouTube. Now bear in mind, I don't have a console, but
console?
A video game console.
A console?
Let me spell it. CONSOLE. Like an Xbox or
you are
PS4.
really not a gamer.
All right.
That's a console.
You know what I meant.
A console?
Console.
What was the last console you had? NES?
The original Xbox.
Oh, okay. So you had one console.
Yeah. I haven't had counseling for how to say it, but anyway. I've been watching those games, and I'm amazed at the cinematic treatment that these 3 games have gotten. And they're such a notch above, the Nolan films and all that.
Really? Think so?
Oh, yeah. Without question. In terms of the way they're able to fit in what we would consider the corny elements of the mythos and make it seem legit, and make it work is nothing short of amazing to me. Like, for instance,
I especially like that first one, Arkham Asylum, where he was just on the little island.
Right. And then also, it's interesting, if you look at Arkham City and we would deem Robin to be a corny character, but they make him into, a force to be reckoned with. And now bear in mind, in the Arkham City game, he only has, a one little, cameo. Yeah. But he looks really badass in there. That, he's just as badass as Batman. Not taking anything away from the Batman character, but he looks like a character who would definitely hold his own. So,
all right, Brian. Any other news stories getting in? Batman over here?
I'm sorry. Have you heard about the Antarctic rescue?
Who was stupid enough to get stuck in Antarctica?
Apparently these passengers.
Really?
And yeah, apparently they're all rescued, but the ship that they're on is officially stuck. So.
Wow. I saw a picture of scientists from the 1911 going to Antarctica with dogs, and they just had a wooden boat. And I can't believe someone would have the balls to travel there and at that point.
Right. Yeah.
So wait, what happened?
Well, an Australian icebreaker carrying the rescue passengers is no longer on standby and is returning to shore. So on Thursday, the helicopter from a Chinese ship transferred 52 passengers from the academic Skolarsky to the Aurora Australis, wherever the fuck that is. And the Russian boat has been trapped by thick floes of ice since December 24th.
Wow. So they went down there to study, I guess, geologists or whatever they were.
Yeah, but basically study. I'm quite sure they were trying to study, global warming and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, they released... We never talked about this on the show. They released reports saying, yep, no more denying it. 95% of scientists are now saying, yep, global warming is our fault.
Right. And then to add insult to injury, another news that I want to talk about is bring up is the Fukushima. Oh,
no, you're gonna scare me. I'm on the West Coast, and I see those charts that people put online that the radiation is leaking over right to.
It's already there.
Venice Beach over here.
Yeah, it's already there, my friend.
Fuck.
Now, I just wanted to know if you developed any spider powers by any chance.
My penis grew 2 feet. I thought it was just me coming into manhood.
Oh. No, as long as it doesn't have any mutated face on it.
Now I'm up to 4 feet. I can't believe it.
Well, congratulations.
It's at levels that is not dangerous, I hope.
Well, right. You can impress a dwarf.
Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. You impress a dwarf with that extension. So, congratulations.
That I thought you were going to say, that and a quarter will get you on the bus, kid.
No, that's the corniest thing.
Okay. Okay, so the radiation in some form or fashion is definitely hitting the west coast of America.
Yeah. Unfortunately. I know.
Yeah, and what are they doing with that reactor? They just keep pouring more sand over it.
Yeah, that'll stop it. That's
I heard that they were sending in prisoners, people who were in jail. They were they were taking homeless people and having them get dressed up in the radiation suit and go deal with it. Hey, you're just sitting around. Put this
You ain't
on.
doing shit. Right. You know.
You want $1?
Yeah, go for it.
You want 1,000 yen? Come here.
Do it for the honor of your country. You will be remembered. You will be a hero. Psych.
A hero.
I don't know why. Right. It kind of. I don't know why.
The next Dance Revolution comes out, and then we're gonna forget.
Right. I don't know why. That reminds me of like Clint Eastwood for some reason. In terms of like, remember he had like in that 1 year he had Flag of Our Fathers and Letters to Iwo Jima coming out roughly around the same time.
Yeah.
And I think it was like he was talking about it in like a TV spot, so like how in terms of how Americans viewed the war compared to the Japanese, and how Americans they were telling their boys to come back home and all that kind of stuff, even though they were shipped off. Whereas the Japanese they didn't expect their boys to come back at all. They had to give their lives for their country, in the form of kamikazes and whatnot. So
notice the emperor did not do the same.
Yeah, go figure.
I told you to jump off the bridge. When everyone jumped, he says, all right, we give up.
Yeah, exactly. In other news, Colorado opened up or allowed its first shop to sell pots.
Oh, this is not even medicinal. This is recreational pot.
Correct. And then I'm getting reports of some casualties due to the consumption of pot. But
I think that's a hoax.
Exactly.
I'm not like a weed. I'm not a weed advocate, but I don't think that's true.
Yeah, that's just some dumbass trying to like scare people off from that.
That's the same person. That's the same scientist saying that global warming is not because of us. Who is this lobbyist group that pays off all these people?
The world may never know.
Who's the one? Who do we say was the 1%? The producers union. That's who's doing it.
Yeah, sure.
That's why the producers union exists. To deny Fukushima. To deny.
I just don't get it. Like,
as if LA wasn't toxic enough. Now we have radiation here.
I just don't understand. Like, if you're supposed to be a quote unquote producer and if you're having millions of dollars, I wouldn't say being thrown at you, but if you can convince these financiers to put up millions of dollars and you can orchestrate a deal where you're getting a percentage or points from with these franchise, yeah. No, but I'm just saying from the theatrical distributions and from like Amazon and Netflix and the rentals.
Right,
and all
please
that.
Get to it.
Why the hell do they need a guild? I don't get it.
Because
Why?
These deals at this point, it's all franchising. These deals are bigger than any one person at this point, I believe. Who knows?
Who knows? It just to me it doesn't make any sense. You're the ones orchestrating the deal, and you need a guild to take care of you. Whatever.
Maybe they were. What's the Lollipop Guild? What's the Lollipop Guild?
I don't know. You gotta ask them lollipop motherfuckers.
We represent the Lollipop Guild. All right, Brian, let's wrap this up. Any other news? Any other big sports or news things going on?
You see, this looks like a job for George. To be honest with you. I mean, the Giants and the Jets are officially out of playoff contention, but we already knew that, a couple of episodes ago. So that's all. That's all I got.
So who's your pick? Who's your pick for the Super Bowl?
Ooh, I was gonna say San Fran.
San Fran, okay. Well, I'll agree with you. Let's bet against each other. I put $10 on San Fran. You put $10 on San Fran. We'll see. We'll see
who. Okay.
Can you UPS me my winnings if I win?
Right. That's like you saying, "Hey, you have 2 10s for a 5."
Yeah.
Oh man.
Have you seen that new? Oh, real quick. Have you seen that new $100 bill? That's weird looking, isn't it?
It looks like you're being tracked. It especially with the damn purple streak.
Yeah, that purple streak is weird. Not because of the color to me, because I guess some countries have stuff like that. But the texture is different. It's like a piece of plastic. It's like the bill can't fold the same way.
I know. I just feel like I'm being tracked.
Can't that be pulled off?
I don't even want to. I mean, you probably could, but I mean, I don't think I would want to.
Is that necessary? They probably have so many other ways to do that. It's like a piece of plastic that changes the way the bill could fold.
All right. It doesn't make any sense to me why they would do that. But yeah, it looked so fake when I first saw it. You know, I was like, what the hell is this?
It looked like Monopoly money.
Right.
It looked like that money from Canada. Remember that money?
Well, when I first saw it, when I was taking out money and all that, you know, I felt like, you know, like the cops were behind me or something like that. Like, you know, what are you going to do with that money? Hey, show your hands and all that kind of stuff.
Buy a Batman comic book.
Yeah, with $100. You
know, Copper, Robin is not as he's portrayed in the 60s TV show. He's actually much cooler. All right.
You got nothing on me, Copper. That's the usual cliche. I know my rights.
Do ya?
Yeah, let's wrap this crap up. Let's wrap the show up.
All right, everybody, thank you for listening to Shooting the Ish. ISH-ish. Shooting the Ish. You could... What?
No, go into where you can find us.
Okay, Brian, where could they find us?
No, you're supposed to do that.
Okay.
I'm not going to embarrass myself.
Cheer me on while I do it. Give me some claps or something. All right, everybody, go to shootingtheish.com. Send us a message at shootingtheish@gmail.com. You could also check us out at Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Thank you for that a raucous round of applause, Brian. And I'm a rock star.
Oh yeah, big time.
All right. Well, again, Happy New Year. Hopefully you have a good 2014. Happy New Year to everyone out there. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
See you guys later.
See ya.